The market is absolutely cooking right now, and right now might be the time to get your priorities and conviction in line. And what I'm going to give you today, we are literally going to be ranking, I think it's over 70 crypto gaming tokens. Here they are. Here's the data set that we're going with for today, and I'm going to rank them from S tier all the way down to wrecked tier. And look, I'm going to be unbiased. Some of the things I've held in the past, things change, convictions change, and whenever things are good, things are good. But you see what really is going on behind projects whenever the tide is low, as they say. You can see who has their pants down. So this is going to be an unbiased rundown. I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible, but as you see, like, we have so many tokens to rank here. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it, guys. Like the video down below if you enjoy this content, and tier lists always are fun because people are going to get their feelings hurt, bag bias aside, whatever the case is. So leave your comments down below on the tier list, anything you disagree with, agree with, etc. And of course, our shout out to our sponsors here on In the Game. We have Moon Tropica, Universe, we have On Me, we have NordVPN, and all of our exchange sponsors down below in the description. And a big shout out to Moon Tropica. Moon Tropica, first and foremost, I have to just give a shout out. I tell you, every time when the market is hot, Moon Tropica moves very quickly. This thing is up 10% today, 30% on the week. This thing is absolutely cooking in the market right now. And they just partnered up with Creo Engine. Creo's another like low market cap gem, I would say. Two projects that I've maintained conviction in over the long haul. So big shout out to Moon Tropica, always lining up top tier partnerships, as well as just the price action is absolutely mooning, no pun intended. And I actually spoke with the team. We will be doing a little bit of a gameplay session. So I've always been talking about how this is one of the more fun games I've jumped into. So we are going to put together a little bit of a live stream session of the game here for you guys on In the Game. So we'll get to that. And look, just briefly, like, the market is freaking on fire. We see tokens up 90% for the week. 𝗙𝗢𝗡's crushing it. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏's crushing it. Playable games up 78% this week. WAGMI's up 140% this month. It's a good time to be in the market, guys. And like I said, time in the market beats timing the market. You had so long to accumulate. And right now is definitely the time to have your priorities in order when it comes to conviction in these tokens. So what I'm going to do, you can see we have old cycle, we have new cycle, we have brand new launches all here on this list. So we're going to run through this as quickly as possible. And here's the criteria. I'm going by quality of project, upside remaining, tokenomics, vesting, unlocks, etc. Just everything considered. Is this something? What echelon should you prioritize having this in your portfolio this cycle? And look, I don't care if you're a community member of something that I put in wrecked. And I don't care either if I've lost conviction in a project. That happens, right? So there will be some shocking revelations in this tier list, but you have to always keep a clear head. And one thing about investing is if you're biased and you don't change your thesis over time, you're going to get stuck in some bad projects. So for me, let's just dive right into this, starting at the top with 𝗨𝗏𝗏. So 𝗨𝗏𝗏, like, this is more of a meme coin in my opinion. It is a gaming coin in totality. But like, I don't know. For me, just because it has no priority in my portfolio. However, if we do just go simply look at 𝗨𝗏𝗏 on the charts, I believe, yeah, number 52 overall. So like, when you're talking about sustainability, it's a meme coin. Look, I can't lie to you. I think this belongs in the B tier. Is it something that I hold? No. Do I consider it in full a gaming token? No, but it has some gaming elements to it. And quite frankly, it's a top 100 token, and meme coins are in this cycle. So for me, that's going in the B tier. We have 𝗡𝗡𝗏𝒡. 𝗡𝗡𝗏𝒡, look, this is going in wrecked. Whenever I say some stuff is wrecked, some of it's very obvious. Some of it I will elaborate on. But for now, we're starting off the wrecked here with 𝗡𝗡𝗏𝒡. I just don't see how they're going to drive value to this. All the experiences from Dookie Dash on have just been underwhelming. Every time they tease the other side metaverse, it's absolutely ridiculously terrible looking. So to me, that's just not really something I'm looking at. We have 𝗨𝗟𝗡𝗧. Very good Solana game. They're well funded. I think that this still has runway and traction for the future. I'm going to go with C tier. So we're lining up each tier here already. We have a B tier, a C tier, and a REC tier. Now we have Axie Infinity. Look, I would be lying to you if I said that Axie was completely wrecked. Like, let's just go look right now at Axie, and we have to pay respect where respect is due. This thing set off the gaming run initially. No doubt about it. It is the titan of OG gaming coins. But is this necessarily something that I would prioritize having in your portfolio today? No, probably not. It is up over double since last year. It is going to get liquidity from normies who have no idea that other games have come out. So like when all things are considered, I'm going B tier for Axie. Like I think there's way worse things you could allocate towards in this market. But I don't get excited about Axie. Is Axie dead in totality? The chart says no, it's not. It's up 120% this year. However, there's nothing that should excite you about investing in Axie this cycle. So I'm going to put this in B tier. We have Beam. If you guys watch the channel, you guys would know this is an S tier token. Beam has an Avalanche L1. They have over 50 games on the marketplace, over 20 games now building on Beam full time. I met with Mark in Singapore last week from Beam. A lot of big things coming here. To me, this is about as top tier of a coin as you can hold in the gaming space when it comes to security, when it comes to overall product, when it comes to tokenomics, everything involved. So I'm going S tier. The first S tier coin here on this list is going to be Beam. Now we have Big Time. Big Time is a big time head scratcher. Like, obviously it should be on my watch list here. Let's just go find this thing. It's really hard for me to justify getting into this. Like, I don't see Big Time on the timeline ever anymore. It's up 84% this month. But if you look at the year chart, it had gone from 82 cents all the way down to 7 cents. Like, there's just nothing that excites me about Big Time. But I don't know that Big Time is necessarily dead. Like, I would say that there's still investment potential here. I'm going to put it in the C tier. It's not completely wrecked. Like, the game is still good. I just don't know the whole open loot vision that they have. Like, to me, it seems a little bit... they don't update enough on the timeline. Like, nobody talks about Big Time. So for me, like, that's a big red flag, a big time red flag. Let's just say that. We have Mana, Decentraland. This is wrecked. Just absolutely wrecked. The game's never gotten better. There's like 7 active players. Like, sorry, not sorry. This thing is beyond repair at this point in time. Decimated and Domi. So this is where it's going to start getting tricky because, like, this is going to toe the line between B and C. And for me, like, putting Big Time in C, despite the quality of the game, it really sets the tone for this list because, like, you have to be in that upper echelon of products, games, market cap, volume, whatever the case is, to crack B or A tier. But I think that's the precedent that we want to set here, right? Decimated, I love Decimated. I think that their game is freaking amazing, actually. As far as Solana games go, I think that you don't really get much better than this currently. Like, there is one that's going to crack a higher tier on this list, and we'll talk about that here in a bit. Look, I will be honest. Big Time might be wrecked. Like, I could move this down to the wrecked tier. The one thing is, it's just like the price action this week has been good. But if we go over to the Twitter, like, just realistically, the engagement's just not there anymore. Like, I don't know who is getting excited about Big Time right now. So, like, for me, can it do well this cycle? Yes. I'm putting big time in wrecked. I just don't see this one really making a comeback like most people would think it would. So I'm gonna adjust this that way. So decimated, for example, I'm going to go in the high tier of C. And the reason being is I think they could use a little marketing, and this all comes into it, like the exposure, the attention on these things. You really have to be in something that has mind share. We're in crypto, for Christ's sakes. Like you have to be in stuff that is in the attention sphere, because crypto is an attention game. If your project is a top tier game but doesn't have the attention, it doesn't really matter. So for me, and it's hard, like if I'm putting big time in the wrecked tier, a lot of these things are going to be wrecked. Like, so I will keep my C for this because it just doesn't make sense. The token still is alive, etc. I'm going to put decimated in C. I think it rightfully belongs there, with the upside of probably B. That's the way I would be looking at it. 𝗬𝗎 online, kind of similar. Like when the market is hot, 𝗬𝗎 rockets. I won't lie to you. Let's go find 𝗬𝗎 on the watch list here. I think it's even lower market cap than all of these, if I'm remembering correctly. No, I must have missed it. Let's see. I know it's on my watch list. If not, I'll just go ahead and search it here. I don't know why it wouldn't be. However, we've covered it on this channel numerous times. All right. Yeah, it is on the watch list. We just couldn't find it. 6 mil market cap. But if we take a look at the year charts, when gaming gets hot, this thing went from 0.003 all the way up to 6 cents. It was a 20x from its lows. And they're building on AVAX. This thing really does well when Avalanche rockets. But like outside of that, once again, no one, like unless you're in the bubble of this community, no one really talks about it. So like that's the fear for me. But when Avalanche comes through, this thing cooks on the Avalanche narrative. So for me, I'm going to keep it in the C tier. Once again, just like decimated, I think with opportunity to move up to the B tier. Prime, you guys know my conviction in Prime. I'm going with S tier. It is one of the best gaming projects you can hold this cycle. Between Colony, the trading card game, their new shooter coming out, upcoming Wayfinder and prompt token that you can stake for. This thing is main character energy for the cycle when it comes to gaming. All of the biggest personalities, influencers, investors, funds want their share of Prime because they see the potential. I think Prime is a top tier hold, and I don't think anyone can convince me off of that. So Prime at the top of S tier. Engine, wrecked. So sorry. If you're holding Engine, who uses Engine? Like, I talk to numerous games all the time, guys. And the one thing about this is I'm being very unbiased because like I have talked to most of these teams, all of these teams, really. I've had conversations with a lot of these games. So like the bias here is completely aside. And I have invested in things like Engine last cycle. Obviously Mana whenever the metaverse ran. I'm in decimated. I have had bags of 𝗬𝗎. I have had big time. Like these things at certain points in time, but you have to adjust your thesis. So I know like a lot of people are going to be surprised at some of these rankings, but this is just how it is today. We are sitting in September of 2024. For the next 12 months, you have the opportunity at the bull run of a lifetime. And just because I rank something low doesn't mean it can't pump. Like just make sure you understand that. There will be some of these C tiers that pump harder than S tiers, but that's not the point of this list. I'm talking about quality purposes only. And I would say there's risk in holding the lower end of these tokens versus the higher end. Gala Games, this is at the forefront of wrecked. Look, they have completely shattered all hope. The lawsuits against their games, the founders, the private jet situations, the allocating themselves all these nodes. Like, it's just about the most corrupt ecosystem you could probably ever see. So Gala, to me, in the wrecked tier firmly. 𝗔𝗢𝗡. I actually really like 𝗔𝗢𝗡. I'm going to put this in the top of the B tier for now. I think that, first of all, the token has aggressive movement when the market's good. They're building a lot of mini games and different ecosystem type of plays, as well as their team is top notch. Like, and people still do put stock in that as long as the team is just out front building. 𝗙𝗢𝗡, this thing has not gone away. And I think from a quality perspective, it's better than most of the things below it. So like, 𝗓𝗓𝗡 is better than most of the stuff that's going to be on this list. But for a tokens perspective, it's not, right? So for me, that's where I'm going to settle there. GameSwift, I have to give a shout out. A lot of people on this channel, we made good on GameSwift. If we just go look at the token here for GSwift over the year, like this thing went from 7 cents to 71 cents, really up to 78 cents. Now it's back down at 9 cents. This doesn't excite me at this stage of the market. It's a team I've worked closely with in the past. I think they're building cool stuff, but for me, this just doesn't move my needle right now. So I'm putting it in the C tier. It's definitely not wrecked. It probably has another massive pump when gaming comes around. But for me, like, it's just not moving my barometer internally, despite what it did. The amount of people on this channel in the comments from about a year ago that were like, Hustle, you made me so much money on GameSwift. Yeah, GameSwift played out very well. But now looking at it, like, it's just not where I would be allocating my capital currently. And look, there will be things that I rank low, like I said, that are going to pump. That does not warrant this list. Like, there will eventually be a time where I'm filtering money into stuff like 𝗏𝗎, etc. For the fact that Avalanche comes around. Avalanche is hot. Games on Avalanche are pumping. And all of a sudden, 𝗏𝗎 becomes a great play. So like, just because something ends up in C tier also doesn't mean that I'm not going to put money into it later this cycle. But this is just transparently how I'm viewing it. Gods Unchained. I mean, Gods is wrecked. I'm sorry. Like, IMX can hold on to this one as long as they want to. But man, this thing just, to me, does not move any needles. Like I said, yeah, I would have to say for me, Gods Unchained is wrecked. Guild of Guardians, we'll go take a look at Guild of Guardians token, because once again, it's one of IMX's big flagship games. And I saw Grail's tweet yesterday that he said that IMX is the Cardano of gaming, and I don't necessarily disagree. I think a lot of what IMX is doing is smoke and mirrors personally. Guild of Guardians. This is just like, who the heck in the gaming space right now is so like gung-ho, like GOG, baby. I'm playing Guild of Guardians every day. Like, and I remember a time where they boasted all these players, but then their Discord quests got like 100 people involved. I will be nicer here than I am to Gods. I will put it at the very bottom of the C tier because like, it probably pumps, but man, if you're getting excited by GOG in this market, I don't know what to tell you, my friend. Avalanche, very, very easy one for me. I'm going in the S tier. Avalanche has MapleStory. They have Off the Grid. They have a ton of other titles. Their Avalanche L1s give these games the power to be able to build their own chain. And let's be quite frank, I think Off the Grid's the hit of this cycle, and they are the home of Off the Grid. This is an S tier gaming coin. No doubt about it. IMX or Illuvium, then IMX. Illuvium, Trials and Tribulations. I've had Kieran on the channel multiple times here. I'm really good friends with the team. I'm an investor in ILV. But if I was to tell you that right now things are in a good state at ILV, that's just a blatant lie. And we have to just take things as they come. Right now, I'm putting it at the top of the C tier. Like, for me, things are just in a little bit of a turmoil at ILV right now. And, I think they have to get off IMX. I think that a lot of things have to change for ILV to kind of climb this ladder. If anything, it's going to live like right here in the B. And maybe it does belong in the B. Because like, I would invest in ILV before a lot of other tokens. However, there's just a lot here to unravel when it comes to the token. I don't know. to be honest, I'm putting it in the C tier. Like, this is just, for me, that's where it's at right now. It's down the ladder as far as things I would allocate to at this point in time. IMX, the big elephant in the room. I just mentioned how it's kind of the Cardano, as Grail said, the Cardano of gaming chains. It just, I don't know. They're dying for a hit here. Like, they need a hit game, and every game that they've come through the door and thought was going to be a hit just wasn't. And a lot of the games that I talk to that build on IMX do not like the experience. Like, they don't get support. The chain, let's be honest, the chain sucks. Like, all the IMX maxis are going to flood this video like, he's just a hater. I have a bag of IMX. Look, I am an investor since very low prices. I do not care about the things that I say about IMX versus I am an investor because I see its upside this cycle. However, the chain just doesn't work well. The games on there have not materialized. Stuff like Ember Sword and Guild of Guardians, even Illuvium, like, they're having their struggles. So from a token perspective specifically, this will go A. Does it excite me in the slightest? No, it doesn't. But I would be mass fudding if it was below A. Like, it is one of the top gaming coins in the market, undoubtedly, no matter what you think of the product, right? We're literally looking at a 2.9 billion market cap. It is what it is. But, you know, this is the difference between, is it going to have a good cycle? Yeah. Are games enjoying their experience there? No. And I know that from facts. So that's where I'm at there. DeFi Kingdoms wrecked to me. I know Dreamer and the guys are doing everything they can to kind of just keep the sentiment, but it's way too last cycle. It's way too caught up to the DeFi game Ponzi narrative. So for me, like, Jewel, I'm going to leave it at the bottom tier. It is what it is. Like, much love to the team. I used to be involved with Jewel pretty heavily, but now it's just, I don't know. Once again, doesn't excite. Compete. This is a big difference between quality of game and the attention that it gets. Great game. The attention that it gets is just very minor. I'm going to go C tier, above Aurori, but right below Domi and Decimated. This is just where I'm going to set this one. I think Compete has a lot of potential, but it just needs more eyes on it in totality. Lit Labs. I'm going bottom of C. Like, this one has just never excited me. Last bull run, or not bull run, like a year ago when gaming started kicking, this thing did really well. I've just never understood the hype. And to be quite frank, like, I know a lot of people that also got wrecked on this. I've never been involved with this one. I don't plan to invest into it. However, yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't move. Once again, it doesn't move my needle in the slightest. So I'm going to put it here at the, I'll put it, not even in a spiteful way, I'll put it above Guild of Guardians, for Christ's sakes. Treasure, tough one. I mean, I saw they just made a move to, like, a new chain. I feel like Treasure is doing everything they can to stay alive, personally, due to 𝗧 coming through and kind of dominating the arbiter market. I'll be honest, I still think Magic has a future. I'm going to put it up here in the B tier. Look, it's better than most of the stuff on this list. If we go look to, let's go find Magic here on the watch list. Yeah, I mean, it's having a good week, good month. It's on Binance. It's got everything it needs to check boxes. I think it's still in the B tier. Like, look, am I the most excited about Magic at this point in the market? No. Has 𝗧 come through and kind of, like, disrupted their position a little bit? But I still think Treasure has a good future ahead of it this cycle. And there's way worse things you can be investing in. So I'm going to put Treasure here in the B tier. Merit Circle is just a duplicate of Beam. So I'm going to exclude it from today's tier list because Beam is in its place. So it would be up there where Beam is. Moon Tropica. Obviously a sponsor on this channel. That will not move the barometer on where I put this. However, look, they move so aggressively when the market's hot. There's honestly, as far as low cap coins go, not many that move more than the community moves this coin. Like, the conviction here for Moon Tropica is so high. To me, like, it's really tough. I am going to set this at the top of B for now. I think that if this gained more momentum, the game goes public, etc., you're going to see, and look, I'm more excited about this than I am IMX at the end of the day, which is where it becomes tricky. Like, honestly, I'm going to put Moon Tropica in the bottom of the A tier. I think that that's very fair. Look, the way that this thing moves, it's just so correlated well with the overall market. And then on top of that, like, the gaming markets, it's almost like a leverage play on gaming. And if we look back a year ago, this thing went from $1 to $48. And now it's kind of on that rise again. So for me, I'll keep it at the top of B for now, with the potential that I could move it up by the end based off what else falls in my B tier. So stick around. At the very end, you'll see the whole tier list. But until then, we'll have to wait and see. 𝗫𝗓𝗓. Needs more developments for me to be like super stoked. The games just have to come out faster. The network, I don't know exactly what the deal is. For me, I will say this is at the top of my C. Like, it could move back up in my conviction. I still have nodes here that are printing every day. Really excited about that. The price action's been actually pretty good. Let me find 𝗫𝗓𝗓 here. Like, this thing, not on the whole chart, but 61% this week. So it does move very aggressively with the gaming market. That gives me a good strength signal there. And is it, quite frankly, as like frowned upon as some other coins now? No. I'm going to put it at the top of the C tier just to be completely realistic. That's where I feel about this right now, and that's what I'm going with. Mythical Games, wrecked. These guys don't lean into Web3. There's no speculation. They would like to probably brand themselves as a Web2 company. I know they're doing the PUBG game or whatever, but this is just not exciting in the slightest. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Nakamoto Games. Once again, Naka continues to crush despite market conditions. When this thing gets hot, it is on a rampage. I know it's on my watch list here. Let me find Naka. Maybe. Oh, there it is. Yeah. So up 6% today, 40% on the week, 52% on the month. Naka, they're leaning in a lot. They've always leaned into the Telegram narrative. Way before Telegram narrative was a thing. I have to give them props for that. I'm putting them right here at the top of the B tier alongside Moon Tropica. And with 𝗬𝗢𝗒, like those three, as far as like low to mid caps that could just rocket this cycle, I think doesn't really get much better than that. And you guys will see, there's literally only going to be like 6 or 7 tokens in the S and A tiers combined. So being in the B tier does not necessarily mean it's a bad token. I'm invested in multiple of the B tiers actually currently. So that's just how it is. 𝗥𝗥𝗍𝗧, wrecked. Nothing to say there. You guys, if you know, you know. Monkey Ball, uncaged. I actually would say they've been kind of cooking. This thing, they partnered up with Puma. They partnered up with Meta. Like, honestly, I have to give kudos where it's due. Like, Uncaged has kind of been really cooking, especially over the last month. If we go look at the charts as well, it's up 112% this week, 320% over the 30 days. And just that aside, the partnerships are solid. They're going to have Puma merch inside the game. They're partnered up with Meta now. Let's see what happens. But for me, it still has work to do to get up above some of these other incumbents in the space. Solana. So as far as gaming goes, I would have to say, look, I would be remiss to tell you that this is an S tier token. Don't get me wrong. But when it comes to gaming, like, it's just different. So for me, I will put Sol up here. Honestly, like, I'll put it right behind AVAX as far as gaming goes. There will be normies that look at this list and say, what the heck? Solana's the best token in there. How could this not be at the top of the S tier? But Prime is the king of gaming. AVAX has the best game in gaming, which is Off the Grid. Those two immediately oust what gaming is doing right now on Sol specifically. Sol, if this was an overall token list, yes, it is at the very top. But if someone listens to this list, they're able to see why my reasoning is for this to be a little bit down the S tier. But nonetheless, if you're not allocated into Solana, I think you need to be. Star Atlas, Honeyland, there's a lot of good stuff cooking on the Sol network. So for me, I'm going to put it up here. And Beam, like I'll put it above Beam for the respect that Sol is like a king in the space right now. Playable games, another one I'm putting in the B. Like I'll probably put it right below Treasure. Like when this thing gets hot in the right market, look, it's up 75% this week. These guys relentlessly build. Like they have there's an ecosystem of people here that play the games every day. They play to earn as live on their game Nexus. Like, and we 10x'd on this token whenever the market was hot last year. Like this thing ridiculously cooked. I'm keeping it in the B tier because they have continued developments. Like there is nothing that has come to light that is like troubling. It's a low market cap token. When the market's dead, it's tough. Whenever the market's hot, this thing rockets. So I'm going to keep this in that B tier, right around similar tokens. Look, like Moon Tropica, 𝗏𝗏, 𝗔𝗢𝗏, Bull. I think they all are pretty similar in that regard. Katana, Inu. I just think they're all over the place. Like when I've spoke with this team, it's just, I don't know what the goal or the priority is. And that concerns me a little bit. What is the term? Like a jack of all trades is actually a master of none, or whatever the term is. So for me, I'm going to put Kata like in the C tier above big time. It does excite me more than most because of the fact that it's very meme oriented. Like if we go, I don't know that it's this far. I'm filtered on a gains perspective, but let me find Kata here just to kind of like refresh on the chart. Yeah, it's just like not moving fast. And this thing's like, it typically moves very fast when the market's hot, but right now it's just not. They have all the potential in the world with the meme integrations that they do. However, I just feel like they try to do so much and really are finding trouble getting the one thing right, which any product, you have to be really good at one thing. What is that one thing for Kata? I am not sure. However, I don't deem it dead. But honestly, I will move it back all the way back to behind G Swift, behind Uncaged, behind Domi, behind Decimated, because I just genuinely like those better currently, to be honest. PZP PlayZap. I wouldn't call this wrecked, but I certainly would not say that this excites me in the slightest. There's some people out there that really like this one. It's probably going to rip like crazy and that's the funny thing. Like there will be coins. Like I said, you guys will come back to this in 6 months and be like, oh, that Lit Labs project, it's 600%ed hustle. What? How is that a C tier token? But from a quality perspective, this is just, I'm calling it how it is. And we're seeing right now, like Uncaged has pumped 300% this month. That doesn't mean to me that it becomes a higher tier token because of the pump that it's giving. So just keep that in mind. This is all based off quality, tokenomics, etc. So yeah, take it for how you will, but that's just how it is. Cornucopias, look, personally speaking, I think that they're doing a lot of great things from product perspective. It's another one of those projects that just needs a little more speculation, a little more hype, a little more like drive behind it, more attention on the product. If we're taking a look here at the week and the month, like it's down on the month and the market's cooking upwards. That's a little troublesome to me. I'm going to put Copy like in the C tier. I know it's CC. It's kind of like, hustle, why'd you do that, man? That was just so easy for you to do. But like I think it's true. I think all the teams above it, the marketing and like the traction, the community, the exposure that it gets is just better in general. So like that's what I'm looking at currently. And I think Copy has like A tier potential. They just need to find that recipe for success, in my opinion. Superverse. Superverse is S tier. Look, it is what it is. You guys in the comments are always like, super is vaporware, super does nothing. You're going to see over the course of the next 6 months exactly how integrated super gets into the gaming ecosystem. If there's one coin out there that gives you an ETF of gaming, this is it. They're partnered up with like 30 of the top tier games in the space. Elio is cooking hard. Look, super's S tier. That's just, it is what it is. I think it could literally 10x from here, get to a few $1 billion this cycle. So take it for what you will. But super is absolutely an S tier token. Polygon fits with this because like they had everything going for them whenever Ryan Wyatt was there. And we've talked about this extensively during that time. Like I really liked Polygon. Now Polygon is kind of like, this will be an unfiltered show, but like Polygon is kind of like IMX's little, like, it's kind of like IMX's little brother / like almost pushover, like, they just bully. They basically bought Polygon. Polygon doesn't excite me in the slightest. And like IMX, if it wasn't for the ZK tech that Polygon had, it might be even worse for IMX. For Polygon, I'm going like way down the ladder. I'm going to put it middle of C. Like Polygon just, I don't know. They had a lot going for them, and then they basically bent the knee to IMX, which is just interesting, but I don't know. Ronin is top of the, this is top tier. Look, like, I think personally, if you're looking at Ronin, I think like momentum wise, Prime and Super have had more momentum. I think the velocity that when Ronin pumps this cycle is going to be massive. And I think that Ronin, like, undoubtedly is the king gaming chain. And like, by the end of this list, I think if you just had a portfolio of the S, the A, and then like the first 5 or 4 out of the B tier, your portfolio is geared up for so much upside this cycle. So like, it's really hard to rank these things. For me, right now, the speed that Prime moves at and the speed that Super moves at is in front of Ronin. But is Ronin the overall best crypto gaming project in the space? Yes, it is. There's no debate about that. But for now, like, the way that liquidity is moving into these different projects, if we take a look, like Ronin's up 19% this month, while Super's up 50 and Prime's up 58. And I'm not taking this off of a short sample size. Like, liquidity moves slower into Ronin. So for that reason, I will put it in the 3rd ranked crypto gaming token on this specific tier list. If we're talking about like crypto gaming project quality, it's at the very top. No doubt about it. So Ronin people, don't kill me, please. I'm just being honest. I think that there are a couple faster moving horses, but it is undoubtedly a top crypto gaming project. There's no doubt. Wilder World, man, these guys are cooking hard. I think this thing is gearing up for a pretty massive pump coming up. I have to say, like, I've played every game iteration that they've put out so far. I'm putting it in the A tier. I think it'll end up like at the bottom half of the A tier, but like from quality perspective and everything going for it, I think it clears everything in the B tier. Like just genuinely. That's the way I'm seeing it. I think Wilder World has such a good bull market ahead, and especially once people figure out the open world and the first-person shooter stuff going on, I think it's really going to cook hard. We have Sandbox, putting it right next to Decentraland because it's absolutely wrecked. It's probably the most alive out of all the wrecks, but it's wrecked. Like, do not allocate into Sandbox this cycle, people. Unix, RIP, man. RIP. Fallen Soldier. They had a lot going for them too, but this thing basically pulled the plug. I haven't heard from their team in ages. Like, just disappeared. It's crazy. S Fund, man, excited here. Like, genuinely very excited. Also, I want to make a couple notes. Ronin, they're about to ramp up their DeFi initiatives. As we see, there's 150 mil TVL. This probably 5-10x's whenever that DeFi initiative ramps up. I did just want to point that out quickly. But then we have 𝗏𝗏 Alchemist, the founder of 𝗓𝗏. saying that they're going to start doing buybacks in a very scalable way on S-Fund. And S-Fund doesn't even really need that, but he wants to get this into the top 100. So like my conviction in 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗧 has always been there. However, this just amplifies it. And once again, if you look at it in totality, it clears everything below it. This is just how it is. So like, I love a lot of the B tier tokens, and I even like a lot of the C tier tokens here. But from a quality perspective for investment, like I'm unbiasedly, I think that we're kind of cooking on this list. Like there's a lot of things that you could be upset at if you're a maxi of like a C tier project, but at the same time, like be logical, see it as a whole. And I think you would probably open your eyes and say, wow, you know, this makes a lot of sense. That's just me personally. Shrapnel. Oh boy, I got some friends at Shrapnel. I got a lot of people that I know that left Shrapnel. I'm heartbroken to do this. This thing's wrecked. I don't care what the price is doing right now. Let's just go look. 30 days. Shrapnel's cooking, but it also got cooked so hard. It was down like 99.9% from the local highs. They're going through lawsuit turmoils, a lot of layoffs, team members leaving. The things I've heard are just dirty, wrecked. I wouldn't allocate into Shrap right now. And it sucks. We rode this thing up from 7 cents to like 30 something cents during the peak of the market. But yeah, it's tough. To me, Shrap, it's down there in that wrecked tier at this moment in time. 𝗧𝗢𝗧. 𝗧𝗢𝗧, man, you have to say one thing about 𝗧𝗢𝗧 is like they're always, it gets hit hard when the market is rough, but it really does well when the market is like thriving. If we go look here, 𝗧𝗢𝗧 is up 77% this week. Ton Station's been absolutely cooking. I met with the team over in Singapore. Like a lot of good stuff going on here. I'm going to put 𝗧𝗢𝗧 in the middle of the B. And I mean, quite honestly, in an aggressive market, there's not much better to be allocated into. When I'm looking at like the other stuff here, look, like I think it's better than playable. I think it's maybe I'm sliding Floki a little bit, but because it's not so heavy gaming, I'm leaving it kind of like down the list. But then when it comes to like C tier, I don't know. There's not much I'd rather be allocated into than 𝗧𝗢𝗧. So like for me, the Ton Station stuff says enough for me. I know their business is making revenue and making profits, and that means a lot to me. So I'm going to put 𝗧𝗢𝗧 here firmly in that B tier. Let's keep moving on down the ladder. Synverse. This is about as close to wrecked as you can get without being wrecked. Just like no one cares. I'm sorry. No one cares about this game, right? Like there's some maxis in the community. I'll see comments in my YouTube. They're going to be heartbroken. Like, you don't have Sin, bro? I'm like, no, I do not have Sin in my portfolio. Just come on, man. Be realistic. So for me, I'll put it at the bottom of C. I've played the game. It's cool. But once again, it's one of those things that just doesn't have any attention. If you don't have attention, you don't have anything in Web3. You could have the best game in the world. Doesn't matter. If you don't have the attention in your ballpark, it's just really not going to go anywhere. So for me, quite frankly, I'm going to keep it at that bottom of the C tier. SLP, wrecked. It's the in-game currency of Axie Infinity. This thing will never come back. SLP to $1, not happening. But I think most people know SLP in-game currencies like that are going to end up in that bottom echelon for sure. Splinterlands, another one that's wrecked. I just don't get it. Splinterlands had a lot going for them at one point. It went down only during last bull. What is up with that? Like, I mean, why would you allocate into a token that goes down during the most explosive bull run of all time? Just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Now it's beaten up so badly. But like, look at the timeline here. Well, okay, it did move here, but it hasn't moved any over the last year, like just none at all. So like, that's very concerning. SPS, like, they're really good people. I love their team, but it's wrecked. Sorry. Atlas, and I'm going to use Polis. Atlas Polis. I think you could line them up in about the same light. Look, unlike Illuvium, they are cooking hard. Mike Wagner and the guys over there, they laid you out the roadmap and they've been honest. And the game's rolling out and it is amazing. Like the game is awesome. I'm going to be real. Like I'm going to put Atlas in the A. It's where the A belongs in the A. Like that is just where it goes. And for me, I'm allocated in Polis. I like Polis a lot better, but yeah, that's the way I'm looking at it. I think Polis has a huge future ahead of it. And I love that they've stuck to what they said they're gonna do. They never said, we're games coming out next week, guys, be ready. Like they caught a lot of flack through the bear, but they're cooking and they're cooking hard. And I really like what they're doing. And they're still the top Solana game. And that means a lot to me. STEPN, absolutely and totally wrecked. Just how it is. Altura. I've seen a lot of questions in the comments about Altura. It's another one of those things. Great project, great team, great partners. You know, they're in with Superverse. I think they partnered up with Superverse. I'd have to double check that. There's so much stuff going on in the space. But like, when I'm looking here, from a quality perspective, you could allocate into this and justify that it's better than most of the C tier. However, like the movement on this thing is so slow. Like it's really aggravating because the marketing here needs a little work. Like they don't have the pull on the KOLs anymore. They don't have like as far as like the top guys really like excited because their updates are just slow and few and far between. And this is just honest, transparent. That's just how it is. And if once again, if you don't have the attention in your court, like it's going to be tough. So for me, when I'm looking here, and I'll set the tone, like 𝗟𝗓𝗓 doesn't belong in the B tier for tokens right now. It's in the C. That's just how it is. Altura. Gosh, this one's very, very hard. Very hard to determine where I want to put this. Anything above like it from a speed, velocity, marketing perspective, it doesn't touch anything in the B tier. So for me, I'm gonna go A or C. I'm gonna go C. It's just how it is. If they ramped up their marketing just a little bit, Altura could really be cooking. However, like right now, it's just underwhelming, and that's just how it is. And I'm great friends with the guys over there, but you should understand, like, this list is not to make friends. This list is to be completely transparent with you on where I'm ranking my priorities this cycle. 𝗓𝗏 Arena, goes without saying, is absolutely and utterly wrecked. Ultra, old cycle token. I think that of the old cycle stuff, it's one of the only ones that has potential, and that's because of Project Citadel, their upcoming first-person shooter. Obviously, they used to be a sponsor here on the channel. The price action's just not exciting right now, however. I think that from a fairness perspective, I will allocate this to the top of C with justification that it could ramp up once Project Citadel comes out and we see more like exciting news, people using Ultra, because like right now people just don't really use Ultra, and that's a problem currently. And you need speed and velocity from your coins, so if they're not getting that, it's kind of tough. I'll leave it there for now. Vulcan Forged, another one that is like, look, I love PYR. Like this has been a long-standing token in my portfolio. It's just the velocity has slowed as far as movement, and it's actually got good price action this month. I think that when you look at the chart here, this thing got up to $10 back in March. So like this thing is still kicking. I'm going to probably allocate this one to like lower end of B. That's where I'm going to put it for now. I think that we'd still need to see better updates. Just, you know, the games need to come out and people need to be impressed by them. It needs to be on the timeline a little more. But actually, like, I think there are way worse things to invest into. And I mean, that goes for Ultra too. Like, to be honest, Ultra, like, I'll put it at the very top of C. I think that that's justified. And I think that, you know, from a perspective of could ignite back here. I think it could. So I'll leave Ultra at the back half of B because I think the upside could come through. It just does worry me. Like this yearly price action. I mean, it got up to 35 cents back in March. We'll see what could happen here. Quite frankly speaking, I just need to see more, which then leaves me back to I'm putting it at the top of C. That's just where I have to leave it. WAGMI Games, just absolutely and utterly cooking right now. Their global launch is in December. These guys are tuned in, and these guys don't care. Like, a lot of people hate on WAGMI. I think that fuels the token. Like, as far as this goes, I'm going to put WAGMI, like, right there. And that puts it at, like, number 13 on my list. I think that WAGMI, from a token perspective, really... You honestly can't get much better allocated than into something like a WAGMI Games. That's how I feel completely. The game's fun. The community's great. It has meme coin-esque tokenomics with a top-tier team. Say what you will. WAGMI deserves to be B or higher. And I think that this could work its way up firmly to the S's and the A tiers of the world. Wax, Wrecked, Mega Weapon... I'll put it near the bottom of C tier, just in totality. Vendetta, this thing has performed so poorly. It's hard. Like, some of these I'm going to be just very quick because they don't warrant too much, but it's performed so poorly. The game's cool, but it's like Sinverse. It's about as close to Wrecked as you could possibly get without being wrecked. Let's just say that. Army of Fortune, Wrecked. These guys just completely rugged. See ya. Not cooking. Champs, I'm going to put in C. I'm going to put it right around Katana Inu, that type of stuff, because that's just how it shapes up. Like, we're looking at a token that, like, when the market's hot, it's a low cap, it rockets. When it's not, it just doesn't do much. But the community is very strong. I would firmly put it above, like, a Compete, PZP, etc. Mixmob. Mixmob, they've always been doing some cool stuff. I don't think it's wrecked. I'm gonna put it right around another Solana project here by Aurori, which is in that bottom half of the C tier. Compete, we've already ranked, so I'm going to move it down. Farcana, yikes. I know I'll hurt some feelings with this one because I know some people on my timeline that, like, really like Farcana, but from a perspective of, like, price action. This thing was at 19 cents. It's less than a cent right now. Farcana's wrecked. I'm sorry. It's just how it is. Forgotten Playland, another one. Rocketed on launch. And now, unless something has really changed, let me see. Let me see the price action. Because I hate to do this because I love Beam. I love Merit Circle, etc. But this thing has gone from 8 cents to 0.003 cents. Look, it's wrecked. That's just how it is. And the rankings on wrecked, I'm not ranking them in any order. On everything else, I'm putting them in order of my priority to invest. So that's just so you know. Wrecked is just an assortment of wrecked projects. The rest are in order of my conviction levels and the way that I would allocate into them. Which, I mean, I would move Axie, like, down there, to be fair. But, and honestly, I'll put Axie, like, by Polygon because I probably would allocate into a lot of other things before Axie, just to be fair. Crown is A tier. Crown is, like, just like Atlas, one of the best Solana games. They're making revenue hand over fist. The token moves super fast when the market's hot. I'm going to leave it in A tier, and that's just, I think, where it belongs, to be quite frank. Honeyland. Honeyland has been hit hard, but the project's so good. And I have to say, like, I think that Honeyland makes a big comeback. It's one that I've not lost conviction in. Corey and the team, they do so much for the Solana ecosystem, and they're doing so much right. I think that, if we look at the year chart, this thing got up to 30 cents, 34 cents. So, I mean, the chart is about as bottomed as you could possibly get. So for me, I'm going to put it right around here with like Copy. I'm going to put Honeyland in the C tier with expectation that this climbs back to the B tier, just from a personal perspective. Mavia. Mavia is hot when it's hot, and it's when the market's not, it's tough. I think that when the economy goes live here, you could probably see like pretty good action here when it comes to Mavia. I'll put Mavia in that B tier. Probably right around Citus. I think from a token perspective, there are worst things to invest into. And to be honest, like, they're one of the people that kickstarted the run this year, and it still got hype. The token's moving. It's up 32% this week. I have not lost conviction in Mavia. I'll put Mavia in that middle of the B tier, and I think that's pretty fair on where it settles. Pixels, I'll put Pixels top of C. Like, this thing just not moving. It's not doing much that excites anyone in the current landscape of things. So that's where I'm going to set it, at the top of C. Aether Games wrecked. Price action's just been nothing. Updates have been nothing since TGE. So that's just how it is. Affin, I'll put this like in the middle to low end of C. These guys are cooking. It's just not in the front of mindsets for most people. So I think that's tough. Root Network. Root, I'm going to put actually at the middle of B. I think that Root Network is one of the best projects in all of crypto, like, actually. But I just think they also need to get in front of more people. They just partnered up with Neo Tokyo. They're doing the Ready Player One metaverse. So, like, yeah, I think Root belongs in that upper echelon, and that's where we're going to set it. Cap Games. Oof. This one's a big yikes. Like, they have pumped, but they like disappear for a little bit. I really like the guys. I like the team. It's another one that's like as close to wrecked as you maybe could possibly get without being wrecked. I'll put Cap Games right near the low end of the C tier. Like, they're not dead, but they're on their last legs, in my opinion. Creo Engine. This is one, like, once again, when the market's like really good, this thing does well. I'm going to put Creo at the top of C with the expectation that it could move up to B. I just need to see more like what is Creo, what is their goal? Like, I don't know if they want to be a launcher, a studio. It's really hard to kind of lock that in. But I think that Creo is still one of the better low market cap projects in crypto. I just need a little more clarity. Hytopia, to me, is wrecked. I just don't see a future. What are they doing? What is the chain? What are the nodes for? Makes no sense. None of it makes sense, okay? That's just how I feel. XAI, look, Xi is absolutely top of the B tier. Like, and let me look at the dilution, because that's going to be the main thing here. If this thing, the vestings, okay, it could be worse on dilution, to be quite honest with you. And the month it's doing pretty well. Yeah, I will, I'll assert this at the top of B. I think that's very fair. It hasn't established itself like the things above it, but it's very close. So I will put XAI at the top of the B tier. Let's move back down here. I have already ranked Shrapnel, so we'll move that down. I've done G-Swift as well. Portal's wrecked. Like, this thing has treated retail investors like ridiculously terrible. It was a complete VC coin. I think Portal's wrecked, to be quite honest. 𝗚𝗟𝗧𝗓. This is like Ubisoft's chain. I think it's cool. It's just bigger in Asia. Like what Drake says, you know, he's out in Tokyo because he's big in Japan. This is big in Japan. It's not big over here. With that in mind, I'll put it like above big time, below Illuvium. But I think it could really move up. It's just, if Ubisoft has to come through, and that's the bottom line. Dubs really has been disappointing. The D for disappointing. I'm really upset with the developments. They just don't move with speed. Their marketing's pretty decimate, desolate at this point in time is the word. So I'm going to put them at the bottom of C tier here. Mora, kind of the same. I think it'll pump. I don't think it's an exciting project. It's just how it is. So I'm going to say that. Nyan Heroes. I think Nyan belongs like right around these levels. Like Nyan has done nothing to support the notion that it should be much higher than this. Like everything in B tier I would invest in before Nyan right now. That's just how it is. And I think Nyan's a great game. It could probably move up this ladder pretty aggressively. I'll put it around Honeyland. I think that that's fair. But honestly, like I would invest in a lot of these before, so I'm going to put it in the middle of the C tier. Bloodloop, another one that will go at the upper echelon of C. I think that it actually has performed pretty good for all of the new cycle tokens. Like these new cycle tokens are really rough on price action. If we look at Bloodloop, it has been one that actually hasn't been tremendously bad. And I say that like if it's not bad, it's actually really good because most tokens have absolutely crapped their pants during this cycle. So I will put Bloodloop, honestly, like I'll rank it around there near the top of the C. Yeah, that's kind of where I feel about it right now. YGG, I'll put it near top of C. There are worse things to invest in. No one's getting excited about YGG in 2024. I just don't know that, 30% this month's cool. I'll put it near the top of the C around like Ultra and Pixels. But yeah, for me, it just doesn't really get me out of my chair. Let's just say that. Same thing with 𝗪𝗟. Like 𝗪𝗟, actually, it probably is going to pump hard because it's getting pretty low market cap. So with that in mind, like it probably is around like this C tier area. And I'm going to set it there above. I would invest into it before Nyan, but I don't know that I would invest into it before I'll put it up here with G-Swift. Pretty similar projects, launchers. They're getting low market cap. I think that's pretty fair. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. So ARK, I love the team here. I love what they're doing. Like, I think that the project is pretty intuitive. Like, no one's really tackled what they're trying to do before, which is, important. The market cap is just so low. The price action has been hit so hard. It is up 33% this month. It is not a wrecked token. But I think it falls like at the middle to low end of C until further notice. It's just how it is. Like, I think Arcade has to climb in market cap, and the price action has to kind of retaliate from that first few months. Because if we take a look at the all chart, it had been nothing but downward price action. So if it can kind of retrace to these levels, I think it could find its way higher on this list. But for now, this is where I'm going to set it, right around like Polygon area. Grapes, wrecked. That's just plain and simple. Like, they're not coming back. They have rugged. They're left the space. See ya. Goodbye. 𝗏𝗟𝗓. So as far as like new cycle tokens as well, this is one of the only ones that I'm willing to potentially put like up here. I'm going to put 𝗏𝗟𝗓 in the A tier. Honestly, I'll put 𝗏𝗟𝗓 at the S tier. I think that the vesting's pretty generous. I think that, they have huge plans. If it launched at this level, peak cycle high could be tens of billions of dollars. And as far as quality goes, 𝗏𝗟𝗓 is quality. Like, I will put 𝗏𝗟𝗓 in the 8. Thing is, like, I genuinely like other tokens better, which is where it's going to come tough for me. It doesn't really make a difference, though, if it's beginning of A or S. Yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put 𝗏𝗟𝗓 second to IMX. Well, then that I would be lying to you. I'm more excited about 𝗖𝗢𝗟. I'm putting 𝗖𝗢𝗟 in the S tier, at the back end of the S tier. I think that what they've done, the price action sustaining, the plans that I've heard that they have coming up, I think it's definitely an S tier token. Mon. Despite the flack that Mon has gotten, like, I think that Mon could pump ridiculously. They also are kind of like a gaming ETF. They have all of the elements to succeed. Julio and the team over there are just killers. I was at their events this last week. I've kind of seen exactly what's going on there. When you're taking a look at Mon, specifically the token, I still think, like, let me make sure I think it's on here. No, it's not. Okay. Now let me find Mon. We can take a look at the market cap and just kind of assess, because it has got hit quite a bit since it come through TGE. But to be quite honest, it still has so many listings to come. Despite initial price performance, it launched into a tough market. I think Mon is B tier. Like, despite what has happened so far, I'm going to put Mon in the B, and I'm going to be confident in that. I think it's going to pump very, very hard when the right market comes through, and I think Pixelmon just holds weight. So, like, people will flock to that name whenever the time is right. So that's where I'm going to set it. We have Pirate Nation. Pirate has asserted itself as a A-tier token, and I don't think anyone can dispute that. Like, Pirate, if we go take a look at the price action, I know it's on this watch list, so let's go find it. Pirate Nation. They have held their ground, like, through thick and thin. This thing got up to 42, has held this 20-cent area pretty strongly. I think Pirate, by far, is an A-tier token, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it also be one of the biggest winners this cycle, because it's already on Coinbase. It has that market share. It has that mind share of Coinbase investors already, so it's in front of retail. �y'Borg. I have to give respect where respect is due. �y'Borg really, like, shocked the market with what they did. The no community, no unlocks, and now the price is benefiting from it tenfold. If we go look here, let's go pull up �y'Borg's token. I think as time goes on, it can only climb in the market. But if we take a look at the 1 year chart, it's actually only been live for about a month. Yeah, this data is going to be a little skewed because it's so new. But they did the 100% unlock on airdrop and for community presale. And I think that was smart. And there is some vesting to come, but the dilution's not terrible. Like, I really do think �y'Borg has a chance to move itself up to an A. But we have to see time in the market. Just that's all it's missing. So once this comes through the door, we see more time in the market for �y'Borg. I think that this thing could really push itself up to, like, one of the top echelon tokens in the gaming space. It has that potential, at least. So we'll see if it can push there. Same thing with Mocha. I really think Mocha, from a general perspective, has so much potential. And once again, it's a time in the market thing for me. So once Mocha is a little more tenured in the market, this is the closest thing that you could really pinpoint to a gaming ETF. I know I've mentioned it with Super and Mon, but, like, Animoca is a genuine VC. Like, this thing takes on investments. So you're looking at something that has one of the biggest portfolios in all of gaming, just in general. So I think, like, above it, and I mean, if I'm doing XAI up there, it's tough. Like, Mocha could probably find itself by XAI. The one thing, I guess, that XAI has over it is a little more tenure as a token in the market. And if we take a look at the year price action, like, it's not great, but it's trending back upwards here. So I'm going to make a little bit of a flip flop here. I think Mocha probably has more upside potential than a 𝗧 does. I'm going to move 𝗧 to where Mocha was, and I'm going to put Mocha at the top of that B tier. Because I think like once people catch on to it, market gets hot. I think Mochaverse could actually really assert itself as like one of the biggest tokens of the cycle in gaming pretty easily. So respect where it's due. I think that Mocha could probably do crazy numbers this cycle. And I mean, it went down to 7 cents. It's up to 11 cents here. I think that Mocha could cook pretty hard. It just needs a little more mind share. So actually, I'll do what I think 𝗧 and Mocha are together here. That's just what I think personally. I don't think it's earned that top spot in B. Neither has 𝗧. Like, I would invest in these other low caps before these just right now because of what I've seen and the way that they act in specific markets. So, yeah, that's just the way I'm looking at it currently. Let's jump down here. Block Lords. Nothing about it warrants above a C currently, but nothing about it warrants wrecked. It's too new. We'll see what happens. Block Lords is one of the better games in Web3, so we'll see what kind of comes from that. G3. I actually think G3 is going to pump hard. I know Becker's bullish on this. I'm an early investor, and I'm an early investor in a lot of stuff that's even in the rec tier or C tier. So just make that very clear. I think that G3 actually has more potential for upside than most of the stuff on this list. Omar and the team over there are cooking hard, so I'm gonna put it right around Bloodloop here in the C tier. This could go up to B tier, absolutely. Block Games, Wrecked, Rug, you could almost say. 𝗂𝗓𝗏. 𝗂𝗓𝗏 is once again 100% and absolutely an A tier token. I'm putting it at the front of A tier. 𝗂𝗓𝗏 cooks when the market is right, and their AI gaming narrative, their community is most loyal that I've ever seen in crypto. They're doing so much. I think 𝗂𝗓𝗏 warrants itself as the top A tier token with almost potential. You could say it's S tier almost. Zentry. From my conviction perspective, I'm gonna put around the C. This could absolutely move up to the B as well. It launched at the wrong time. And now people are like, well, what does Zentry really do? So we really need to see stuff from Zentry to push it back up this ladder. However, I think that, like, if we're being realistic, I think that Zentry could be there, and I'll leave it there. Like, I would invest in Zentry before most of the C tier, but it just hasn't shown in the market its strength yet, and that's the concern. ZTX, cool project, doesn't move my needle whatsoever. I'm going to put it kind of in that middle to low end of the C tier. NRN, AI Arena. This one I'm going to put near Bloodloop and G3. I think this one could really pump hard because of its AI narratives, and more people should be flocking to the game as time goes on. So that's the way I'm looking at it. Pixelverse, Telegram game. They botched this launch. I have not a lot of conviction in this ecosystem currently. And just like we're seeing right now with Hamster Combat and 𝗏𝗏𝗏, things are rough. And I think that Pixelverse is going to kind of suffer that similar fate. 𝗖𝗢𝗄𝗏. I think 𝗖𝗢𝗄𝗏's pretty good. I'm going to put it in the upper echelon of C. As you can see, most projects are ending up in C or wrecked. Like, there's more wrecked than there are B, A, and S combined, which should show you I've strictened my criteria so much. Like, the market has to be right for me to get into anything in that C tier right now. I'm so focused hyperly on S, A, and the top, half of B, let's just say. That's where my money and my focus is currently, because I think that's where it is to be made at this point in time. And then Mojo is wrecked. Good ecosystem. Unfortunately, these guys have had a hard time with like the Web3 marketing aspect. And like I said, that matters. Like, it's very important to be able to get your product out to the masses and be able to portray everything that you need to. And Mojo hasn't really done that. So this is where we're going to stand. I'm actually very happy with this list. I think that and as I've said it a couple times, right now I'm hyper focused on like the top few in B and then S and A. But there will come a time where I'm shifting profits down the ladder into stuff like Playable, into stuff like Myria, into stuff like, 𝗪𝗟𝗓𝗓, Altura, Monkey Ball, Domi, Decimated. Like there will be times where we filter into the low caps. And I saw a comment about how like, shouldn't you be in the low caps now and filter into high caps? These aren't Bitcoin. And I'll leave it off with this. None of these are Bitcoin. None of these are a play where you should take all your profits from a low cap that you 100x and bank all your money into it and leave it for eternity. Like this is a completely different ballgame. When gaming heats up, you will see top tier stuff run, and then market caps lower will trickle down the liquidity and they're going to start to run. So for me, no, like I am in no rush to allocate into low market caps. And we're exposed to a lot of this stuff like WAGMI, like Moon Tropica, stuff like Playable Games, Citus, Mavia. We have that low cap exposure. But once I start shifting money down the ladder, we'll get involved with some of the C tier. But for me, like, this lines up with everything I've said on this show for the last 6 months. Prime, Super, Ronin, Avalanche, Solana, Beam. And I would honestly say 𝗖𝗟 belongs in this S tier. And then 𝗬𝗩𝗘, and what I'll do, I think 𝗬𝗩𝗘's better than 𝗖𝗟 currently. So I'm going to put 𝗖𝗟 at the top of the A tier. So S tier's Prime, Super, Ronin, AVAX, Solana, and Beam. And then my A tier is going to be 𝗬𝗏, 𝗖𝗟, IMX, 𝗓𝗏𝗏, Pirate, Polis, Crown, and Wilder World. And then that top of the B tier, Moon Tropica, Naka, WAGMI, GFAL, Mocha, XAI, XBorg. These are all things I'm still super bullish on, and I'm allocated into a lot of this stuff. So don't think that just because a token is down the ladder that I'm not bullish on it. But this is just what I'm looking at right now. From quality to game, like, is the game live? Is the ecosystem live? Community, tokenomics, upside potential, it all factors in. And really, I would be just hyper focused on the top 15 on this list or so. I think you're going to make your hay off of those tokens. And like I said, this is my opinion. You can agree, you can disagree, but this is how I'm seeing the market currently. Leave your thoughts down below. I already know I'm going to hear it. Hustle, you were very bullish on the C tier stuff when the market was hot. It's because that's the right time to be, because the low caps are running. Like, that's when you need to allocate into low caps. But we also need to know when to take profits and shift into other things, right? So that's just how it is. Let me know your thoughts down below. I know this is going to shake some feathers, ruffle you up a little bit. Bag bias people are going to be in the comments. But look, I've been allocated into a lot of this stuff. I pre-seed invested into Block, Portal, 𝗖𝗟. I've had bags of Shrapnel and Gala in the past. Things change. And this is just what I'm seeing right now. So guys, like the video, subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the comment section and on the next one. As always, peace.